Welcome to your Discourse Syndicate's FN Hangout. I am the captain, your captain, RG3, here for you. Here for you, Hexicans. Still here for you, Hexicans. Haven't gone anywhere, still here. I know that the sun is coming out and we're seeing more. You know what? Hold on one second. I got to fix this. I think that, Maxie here, his face. I think Maxie's face is messing up my. Right, there we go. That's it. What's happening, everybody? So anyway, yeah, it wants to focus on the skeleton's face back there. We don't want that. Maxie. All right, so back in the saddle. Just got back from Europe. What an amazing trip. Hexicans are the besticans. That's all I can say. What an amazing trip to Europe. Everywhere I went was a warm welcome. Everywhere I went, Hexicans were just fired up, ready to go. It was awesome. It was awesome. It was the first we went to Rome, had a little trip with the family. Saw everything in just a couple of days. The Parthenon, the freaking Colosseum. What's that prison complex area you can see down and everything. Went there. I mean, just saw everything. Saw the Trevi Fountain. Saw it all like in just a couple of days. What an amazing trip that was. And then went from there, took a train with the kids, my son and my wife, and we went to Venice. Stayed in Venice for a couple of days. Gorgeous, right there. One of the famous bridges in a hotel overlooking the water and everything. Just freaking awesome. And then we got on a boat with the Hexicans, and we sailed through all the Greek islands. We went to Athens. We went to Santorini. Went to Argosy or something like that. It's just gorgeous. Saw the Acropolis. What an amazing trip. And one of the coolest things was, I don't know if I'm supposed to say this, but anyway, one of our PulseChain developers, somebody who's developed something really incredible on PulseChain, his brother joined us, and his brother happened to be a what do you call it, archaeologist there in Italy, and we got to go to his dig site and see the stuff that he was working on. Just freaking what a cool trip. What a really cool trip. And the cruise was just wonderful. The food, the hanging out with Axis and all the dolphins and sharks and just cool people. It was and of course everybody else that was there supporting. So anyway, it was just amazing. I'm gonna talk some more about it, but let me say hello to everybody. Hey, Logi 33, what's up? Melv Tony, the man. Everybody go follow Melv Tony. Watch Melv Tony, what he does. He's always helping. He's always helping out. Love you, man. Thanks for everything. I am high degree. Happy Friday to you. And then somebody who wrote in, I don't know what that language is. I'm not going to even try to attempt to act like I know. Anyway, Crypto Surfer. What's up, dude? OBX is okay. Let's see. Make sure you troll and shill the Coin Bureau YouTube channel during BTC conference. Yeah, there's BTC conference coming up. I think we're going to crash it. I think that's what we're supposed to do. Yes, the Endless Summer poster up there. So if you were on Instagram a few minutes ago, you saw a little backstage action. You can see the other side of my studio. I've got posters all over I need to put up, but yeah, that's my Endless Summer. My buddy found that in his dad's garage, like up in the attic. It's been there for years. It's like a real 1963 Endless Summer poster, and it's in freaking flawless condition. I mean, it's beautiful. He put it in a frame for me and gave it to me. But yeah, he found it at his dad's house when his dad passed away. They went up in the attic, and that happened to be up there. Let's see. Dash Bus Tour, what's up? East Texican Texas Hexican checking in to see if the vibes in Hexico are right. They are rising. I'm bullish as fuck right now because just the support we got out in Europe was crazy cool. It was crazy cool. What's up, Crypto King? Boom. Hey, my boys out there in Japan, man, hanging out. So anyway, yeah, what's up with you? I agree. See, Tripod, year 4, and we're still here. Yes, year 4, and we're still here. Haven't gone anywhere. Still bringing it to you. Still keeping it real, keeping it real. And that's going to have a good talk. Yeah, you like that? That's cool. Hex shirt. You like that Hex shirt? Hex.com. These were from the fight series that we did. Earned 38, 100% uptime. Yeah. Yep. Thanks, SMO. See, the real ones are here too, RG. Yes, Hexander, you are definitely one of the real ones. And there's a wild SJ appears. There she is. Hexen and SB. Hi, all hanging out in South Dakota farm. Dude, South Dakota, my peoples out there in the Dakotas. That's I got a lot of cousins out in that area. North Dakota, South Dakota. Rosebud Reservation. Yep. Even Shakopee over that side. The other Dakotas. Dakota Lakota peoples. Yes. Lots of money over there too. Hex at point. EHEX at 0.0013 cents. And PHEX at 0.00613 cents. Close. Crypto Kali. Yeah, I might join that. Please do. Love to talk to everybody. What's up, Sandy dude? Happy Friday. Hope all is well. Yesterday, today, and tomorrow. Good vibes. Throwing good vibes. That's all we need is good vibes, man. It was so nice to be away from social media and not look at any of that stuff. And the few times that I did, it was like, oh, somebody posts a picture of me or something. Oh, look, somebody get RG a bra. I'm like, come on, man. Like, can't even look at social media. Do I look like I need a bra? Really? Come on. Bad picture. Anyway, I'm really working on the physique. Back at it today when I got home. Hit my trainer. Yeah. Gonna get ripped. Because I know when Richard gets back, he's gonna be looking freaking bad to the bone. I'm telling you guys. You guys think that Richard's just, sitting back and, every once in a while and maybe doing some dev work or whatever. No, Richard is getting ripped. He is working his ass off, dropping weight. He's going to be looking sharp when he comes back. Sharp. I'm telling you right now. Trust me when I say this. Richard's going to be a different man when you guys see him. Let's see. I'm buying PHEX when my second car sells. Car sells soon. Good for you, Bus Tour. Probably get some PulseX too. Yeah. I mean, I think, once these things start moving, here's something everybody needs to be aware of. So retail investments aren't rolling in yet. That's not what's happening right now. What's happening right now is we're getting a lot of institutional money. A lot of Bitcoiners are moving their Bitcoin into institutional money. Institutional money is coming in and they bought all the Bitcoin already. They've already got their Bitcoin. They're all set. That's why we saw a little spike. A little spike was because people saw that they were buying. But retail's not moving the price right now. Retail's not, pumping it. Yes, we saw a little movement on Bitcoin. But here's what's going on. Ethereum is going absolutely freaking nuts on the OTC trades. If you're watching the OTC trades, you're seeing Ethereum move like crazy over and over and over every day. I think close to $1 billion I saw yesterday moving. So just a lot of Ethereum moving. And this is what happened with Bitcoin right before it had pumped to 70K. So Anyway, what's up, Dorsey? How's it going? Ahoy to you, buddy. Did you say Dick's site? Dick's site. I don't know what that means. Not sure. I forgot what I must have said. Let's see. It's year 5, tripod. Okay, it is. I'd like to see you on the Crypto Cali because you rock. Yeah. Get Khalil up here. Crypto Surfer Epic. Yep. Hex Asian, bro. Yeah, the Hex Asians, man. Those guys. They literally, like, out of respect for Discord Syndicate, they left because they were getting hit so hard. And I didn't really care. They were getting hit so hard with the like copyright strikes that they were worried they were going to get us shut down. Well, we haven't been shut down yet. Yeah. So anyway, I guess I shouldn't say stuff like that. Oh, that's not wood. There we go. Let's see. Crypto King says, an absolute disgrace what the government did. Military retirement system. Hex is better way for our men and women to save for future. TSP is trash. You know what, dude? I miss that. I don't know what's going on over there. I've been trying to stay away from freaking politics as much as possible because it looks like things are crazy. Things are crazy. And I can't even look at Twitter right now and just the news and everything's just so flopsy this, flopsy that, one-sided this, one-sided that. Everybody's all up. And I was it's a few months before the election. Look, here's what I would like to let everybody know. I'm not I guess I am a political guy because I want good politics. I want good government. I'm not an anti-government. I'm not an anti-politics guy. I'm pro-people and I'm pro-good people. And I think that's what we all should be. And unfortunately, it's hard for us to get good information anymore because there's so much disinformation. There's so much, anybody can say fucking whatever they want, And I think what people really should do is look at history, look at people who have put out good information, quit buying into all the conspiracy theories, quit buying into all of that stuff and look for good people. Because when you sit down with people, like I've sat down with politicians on both sides of the aisle and talked to them about crypto and heard their opinions and saw it in their faces and what they were saying and what they knew, what they didn't know. And from what I understand at the lower levels anyway, I haven't been up into the Senate and Congress and, talking to the president or anything like that about this stuff, or even real high level government officials, but local secretaries of state, treasurers, that kind of stuff I've talked to. And those are still the real people that are in politics. And those that I have talked to, that I've helped campaign, that have won and been pro crypto, those people want something good for us and the country and the people. They want to see things change for the better. And you've got to be honest and understand that 90%, and we as Hexicans know this, 90% of what's gone on in crypto has been garbage and has been hurtful to people. So for a politician to lean into crypto, you better hope that they're being cautious. If they just lean in, why are they leaning in? What are they leaning in for? Are they leaning in to get favor? Are they leaning in because they know what's going on? Are they leaning into the cryptos that are bullshit? Are they leaning into crypto in general? What are they doing? That's how you should be questioning these folks. What do they know? Why are they even getting involved? And what's their motive behind it? Right? Let's use common sense, folks. And do your research, and do your research in a way that I really like AI, because AI goes out and scours things and digs up information and gives you articles to read, and then you could do research on the people that wrote those articles. That's what that's how deep I go. When I read something, I don't take it for face value. I look at who wrote that and how long they've been a journalist, what type of journalist they are. You know, look, even the conspiracy theorists go out and get information somewhere. So they're obviously, you're trusting something. You're trusting something. You're trusting someone. You're trusting some information somewhere. Vet it. Vet the information that you're reading. Vet the person that wrote that. Look at where they're coming from, who they are, what they're writing, and then make your decisions based on that, whether or not you're going to believe in hollow moons and flat earths and shit. So anyway, let me get back to it. But Crypto King, thanks for always being who you are. You are the man. The Hexican Contractor, what's good? Everything, bro. Everything is good. And Hexicans, you guys are good. You guys are good. Let's see. Loaded up for 15. We out here. What's up, Swearworks? Guys, like whenever I see Swearworks' name, like it inspires me. It gives me that feeling of being back in the first streams that Hexo did. The name Swearworks just freaking was just one of those things that takes every time I see his name, it just takes me all the way back to the beginning days of Hex and all of us streaming and having a good time and fighting the whole crypto space and our families and the world and all that. It was good. It was good. Good to see you, Swearworks. Thanks for coming and supporting, man. You're the best. Pumpy my bag. What's good? Pumpy our bags, bro. What's up, Jofus? Streaming on YouTube. Yep, I am streaming on YouTube. Oh, and you're on the X, watching us from X. Thanks, man. Let's see. Wolakota. Hey, okay. Okay. Watch day. Let's see. What's up, everybody? What's up, Bright Light? Smash those likes. Yeah, smash the likes. Tweet it out. Get people to come. This is your show. If you don't know what the FN Hangout is for, the FN Hangout is for Hexicans to come in here and speak their grievances, speak their positivity, introduce themselves to the community, whatever, you know. Not everybody wants to dox themselves, so you don't have to do that. But this is that place you can do that if you'd like. You know, I met with some whales, I met with some sharks, and, you know, some of these guys don't like being doxxed. You know, we didn't even take pictures together, you know, while I was out there in Europe, you know, some of the guys that I met, and, you know, and I respect that and appreciate it, you know, being able to sit there and talk to them and be around them and them to dox themselves with me. That was quite an experience and, an honor. So there is some good people out there that want us all to succeed. There are some people out there that have put a lot into this ecosystem that want us to succeed. And they all have the same ideas that we do. They really do. So don't think that the whales and the big sharks out there are here to dump on your heads, because they're not. That's not what they're here to do. Some of them have done that. Some of them have cashed out. But that's their prerogative. And anybody who doesn't understand that or thinks that there's something wrong with that, you need to go back and figure this whole thing out again. You need to rethink your life, because if you're in crypto to get rich, if you're in crypto to better your life, you got to sell. And you should be happy that there are people selling, because they're the ones that have made it and have done what you want to do. Let's see here. Crypto Khalil. I just recently made my first stake out to 2039. Who's with me? Nice. Nice. Been a while back at it. Yes, it has been a while. And by the way, I'm getting back in the water. As a matter of fact, I got to call my brother tonight after this. Actually, I should send him a message now. I'm going to be hitting the water with him. My brother decided he's getting back in the water. Now he gives me shit. Right. So like, he's like, hey bro, I'm in the water this weekend. Where are you? You know, and it's like, dude, man, I've been in the water for the last, freaking 10 years. Where have you been? Now all of a sudden you're in the water every weekend and you're like giving me shit for not being in the water. Whatever. And then I went to not Mavericks, freaking doggone it. In Portugal. I was at SJ, what was the name of that? So I can remember. Nazare. The big waves. So I was there in Nazare when he was surfing over here in Cali. And yeah, it's like, dude, I'm traveling the world, man. I'm at the biggest surf spot in the world. I got my feet in the water there. I mean, there wasn't any big waves when I was there, but oh, man, epic. If you've never seen Nazare, you can just look that up on YouTube and see the biggest waves ever surfed, and that's where they've been surfed, and just epic. So it was really cool to be there, go through the museum, take a picture of the boards. And, it was awesome. What's up, Crypto Class? Hey. Oh, she's saying hi to SJ and hi to Sandy. Oh, no hi. GM to you, Class. No hi for RG. Let's see. Facts. Politics are wild right now. You got that right. Morning, Captain. Morning to you, Par Excellence. Wrench me up. Yeah. SJ, would you wrench up Crypto Khalil on YouTube? Go on YouTube and wrench him up. You can't get it? Okay. We'll fix that up, buddy. We'll fix that up. Let's see. Pro people. Our diversity makes us that much more and not less. Yes. Diversity. Diversity. Yeah. That might be what our problem is, though, isn't it? Oh, yeah. Politics. You know, it would be better if we had more choices, I think that's the problem, is we've got a shit sandwich and a turd, right? So you got a shit sandwich and a turd. Which one do you want? You know? And we don't have any. And anytime somebody does come in and starts talking and speaking truth, starts speaking, things you want to hear, they get drowned out. They get shoved back in the background. They become the spoiler, versus somebody who's really got something to say that should really be speaking into, one party or the other's narrative and changing things. Because I don't think that either side is wrong. I just think that they're inaccurate at times and they have agendas, and those agendas don't usually include all of us regular folks. Never have included me. I've been through many elections, working man through all these elections here in the US. And whether somebody on the left or somebody on the right won, didn't matter. My life didn't change. Didn't get no better, didn't get no worse. It was just ups and downs and ups and downs and ups and downs. And that's when I realized that instead of trying to chase those ups and downs, or instead of trying to hope that I was going to end up on the upside, how do I adjust my life to fit within those ups and downs? How do I predict who's going to win and what direction this country and my life is going to go? And how do I prepare for that? And how do I get myself ready for that? And so that I can advance, so that I can do better. And I did that for a few years. I started to learn how to move my 401k into the different assets that I knew were going to do good because this candidate won or that candidate won, or there was going to be a war, or there wasn't going to be a war. So I capitalized on that. And that's kind of what I do in crypto. And I think that looking at this election cycle and what's about to happen, you have to prepare yourself and get yourself ready for the possibilities, and make it work for you. Because you can sit there and bitch and complain and cry about it, or you can go, fuck, writing's on the wall. This is where it's going. I need to do this, or I need to do that, and position yourself. I mean, that's what I'm doing. I am positioning myself. I did some work when I was in Europe to position myself better. Let's see. Hey, what's happening? Raymond Carrillo. The same puppet masters control both parties. 100% scripted to give normies the illusion of choice. I don't think that the same puppet masters control both parties. I think that there's an obvious difference, and there's an obvious difference of who supports those two parties. And even though some of the big money backing it all may be tied together, which when it all comes down to it, people always, let's get into something real quick. So people are constantly running around saying the sky is falling on the dollar. Dollar's gonna go to zero. Dollar's gonna collapse. Dollar. Afraid, everybody's afraid. And I've been hearing this for years, for decades. For decades, they've been yelling and screaming this. But here's what I know, and here's what people don't talk about. And you can look this up and check it out all you want. But this is the truth. When we started talking about this stuff on Discourse Syndicate early in the days, it kept telling me the dollars. And I was like, you guys are fucking crazy. The dollar is not going anywhere. Dollar's not going anywhere. What's going to replace it? Bitcoin? Really? Really? 2% of the world involved, 3% of the world involved. Do you really think that crypto's not going to take over? This new currency that has 6-7 countries that can't stand each other, that's going to take over the dollar? No. See, what people don't understand is the reason the dollar is strong, the reason the dollar is king, isn't because we're such a bitchin' badass country and everybody loves our economy and we're doing really, really good. None of that. No, that's not what it is. What it is our military prowess backs the dollar. You ain't fucking with the U.S. Period. End of story. And why do I know that? Why does anybody know that? Because the military in the United States is the biggest superpower military the world has ever seen. And it spends 100 times that of the top 10 runners up. Nobody outspends us, out militaries us. Period. End of story. That's why the dollar ain't going nowhere. And that's why, yes, we're going to have fluctuations, we're going to have up and downs, we're going to have problems in the world and blah, 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 but the dollar will be king. Mark my words. Mark my words. Okay. So that's, look it up. Look at what backs the dollar. Military industrial complex. No bigger military industrial complex in here. Today's degeneracy, Jofus says, is mistaken for diversity in crypto. Stick to the core coins. Yeah. And here's the other thing. When those core coins start pumping, be ready for mass exodus on all these other shit coins, on all the meme coins, all the shit coins. I don't care if they have a utility and they're here to help PulseChain. They work because there's a whole bunch of them that are doing good in PulseChain. Thank you for the utility. Thank you for putting things out that are good. Good job. But guess what? When Hex starts pumping, that's mass fucking exodus. Mass exodus. All those things are going to go crashing down. But mark my words. You've seen it before. Seen it before. It's going to happen. So many supposed conspiracy theories in recent past have come true, by the way. Not really. Not really. I haven't seen too many of them. Not all of the recent last 10 years worth of conspiracy theories. Most of those bullshit. Maybe some of the old stuff, but most of it bullshit. And here's the thing. They throw these conspiracy theories out and then they just sweep it under the rug because nobody remembers anything anybody says anymore because everybody's just saying all kinds of shit all the time. So yeah, I think some of the old conspiracy theories, yeah, you might have had some, pop here and there, but 99% bullshit. Bullshit. That's sign language for bullshit, folks. I prefer free thinker to conspiracy theorist. Yeah, you know, I mean, free thinking is what it should be, you know. Yeah, that's where it works. Good times, right? Good times, man. Good times are coming again. Let's see. I'm gonna get you here. I got some people in the green room now. So hey, everybody, come on in. This is your show. Come on in. We got the have SJ put the comment in the comments if you want to come in and come hang. We're going to talk a little bit. Let's see. I'll remind RG to do it later. What happened to my permissions? Yeah, we'll get that. Hey, Captain, hope the Euro trip was good time. Yeah, Zenith, it was a great time. I'd love to answer some questions about it. Let's see. Cuatro Cinco, the 5555. Best deal in crypto is the Cuatro Cinco. Still don't talk about it enough. Everybody should be getting you some 555 stakes. That's where it's at. Diversified does not equal diversity. Unification. This is Bill. Oh, Bifinesse. What's up, dude? Strength. Specialization is strength. Perseverance is strength. Find what works and don't ever stop. T-shirts keep printing, never stops. You got that right. Let's see. RG, don't put me in yet. Okay, yeah. I won't put you in. Well, obviously, I've got you hanging. Hey, what's up, Soil Energy? Good to see you, bro. Stylo, what's up, dude? Love me some Stylo. Love me some Stylo. Soil Energy, loved Amsterdam. Yeah, I missed Amsterdam. Let's see. David. Yes, Hex, man. Hex. Who else? Seems like the U.S. politics is just an endless drama. Has almost nothing to do with our daily lives anymore. Best to focus on what you control. Yeah, but elections, you know, they do matter, and so you need to find out. Look at this thing, and find out what matters to you. Find out where people are leaning into, what they're doing, and what matters. And I think that it's important that everybody participates, because if we don't participate, then this little experiment doesn't work. You know, participate, go do your research, do your thing, and figure out what you want, and then go vote for the shit sandwich or the turd. Let's see, who else? The money is king because we threw the rest of the world in debt, and that's the other thing too. So to double down on the fact that we are a military prowess, and that's what backs the dollar really and gives it the value versus gold or anything. Let's face it, big bad guns and kill you are valuable. But what Stylo is saying is 100% true. The biggest export that the U.S. puts out is debt. On top of being badasses and backing the dollar with that, we also exported our debt to everybody and put the whole world in debt. They have our shit dollars. So we poisoned the whole world with it. And, you know, anyway, sorry, but I wouldn't brag about military. Sorry, it hasn't won anything since World War II. Loses Iraq twice. Syria, Afghanistan was a huge 20-year loss. Yeah, but they were just out there wasting bullets, bro, so that they can make some more. They just have to spend some of that ammunition every once in a while. Not bragging about the military. It is what it is. It's bigger than everything else. And we can go out and lose wars and just cause shit, create havoc, make boogeymen. That's what they do with it. And that's why it's a racket. That's why it's a racket, because they use it to waste money, to show their prowess, and to, you know, make countries do their will. Yep. No country's afraid anymore. Just being honest. Oh, it doesn't matter if they're afraid. It doesn't matter if they're afraid. When it comes down to it, the U.S. does what it wants. Does what it wants. 555 will educate you. Fast Abdul, thank you for being a member for 5 months. Tell me your secrets. I'm not telling my secrets. Let's see. Chilling, waiting out my shadow ban on X. You got shadow banned. Oh, Stylo. Love you, man. See, I am really warm to the dregs of our community. The dregs are, let's see, wait a second, real quick. Yeah, Kyle. I'll get you in there in just a second, man. Just a second. I like the Misfits, the dregs. I gave like somebody come in and start shit talking the channel, and I'd give them a ban hammer, and before I knew it, they were part of the deal here. And I Misfits are where it's at, man. It's the Misfits that change the world, and that's what I love about this community is that most of you guys are Misfits, even the ones that hate me and block me and do all the shit that they want me and all that stuff. Freaking love those guys, all of them. Thanks. Let's see, Chris. See, ban means you lose your account with 99% chance of never getting it back. Oof. Yeah, we'll just make another one. Let's see, Chris Corrigal. Thanks for all the amazing work you're doing for DeFi and PulseChain. Thanks, Chris. Thank you. Appreciate being appreciated. It's always nice to get praise versus the other fourth grade memeing, bullying shit. Yes. So anyway, do you think any new retail investors will find on-ramping and PulseChain is very intuitive, be attracted to Pulse during euphoria? Well, that's a great question. One of my concerns. The money always finds value. Hex was found. PulseChain was found, the launch of it. When things move, when Ethereum moves, when we start seeing moves and retail start to roll back in, I think that the world is taking a breath right now. You know, everybody's taking a breath and holding their breath for these next couple of months to go by. So I think that we're in for a real stale moment here during this election period. Once this election's over, I think we're going to start seeing things move, no matter what transpires in that whole debacle. And then I think value will end up finding PulseChain just like it found Hex, and it'll find Hex too again. So anyway, let's see. U.S. companies get paid to rebuild the crap we tore up. Yep. OX Coast makes on-ramping easy. Yes, it does. Let's see. You should deep dive into SEO. Look into the numbers of regional, non-regional members of the. Yep. Misfits are all good. Yep. Hey, what's up, Cassie Kelly? How you doing? Welcome to the show. You were born a misfit. Yes, you were. Yes, you were. And so was I. I was born a misfit. I was born in Misfit Town. I was born in the LBC. I grew up in Inglewood with the Misfits. All right. I made it. Everyone share the stream. Yes. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, get in here. Come. This is your show. Come hang out. Wait a minute. Fast Abdul said something. Do this now or I will release the weasels. 1, press share. 2, thank you. Thank you, Fast Abdul. He's the man. He is the man. All right. I'm going to bring up our first guest who's jumping in here. Oh, he's getting a kiss from his wife. I'm going to let him. Does she want to get in? All right, everybody. Let's see. We got crypto. What's up, dude?
What's up, RG? Can you hear me good?
Yeah, man. Not much. Just let me see here. Let me switch this over so it doesn't look weird.
I'm using a different headset this time.
Yeah, you had a hard time last time with it, right?
Yeah, last time was so weird, dude. I would put that on mute and it would work. Off of mute, it would basically be muted. But yeah, we had a good time last time. I wish I could because of course we had like the post stream after for maybe like an hour. I wish I could have like recorded that because that was pretty cool. I like that.
Nice. So what have you been up to? I just got back from Europe, hanging out with a bunch of Hexicans on the PulseChain tour.
Yeah, you
What
guys been doing like the worldwide tour, right? Where'd you guys go?
Yeah. So we started out with our cruise in Venice. A bunch of Hexicans got on the cruise with us. We went down through Greece. We did a presentation on the ship. Everybody, came down to the conference room. We did a presentation there. We talked to Tank Talk Wireless guys. We had also Access Live was there. We also had Mars there from the Crypto Spawbook guys. And that was that was Crypto Spawbook's whole deal. I was just kind of a tag along, but they put on a really cool show there. And Black Hexican, KC, she's doing a wonderful job and putting all that stuff together. So there's another cruise coming up and going out of Texas and heading to like Honduras, I think. Yeah. So that's going to be a good time. So everybody needs to go to PulseChainTour.com and see about getting on that cruise. That's going to be a good one. And what's cool about the cruises is like, you got sharks and whales and stuff that are coming in there and you get to sit down and talk with them. Like a lot of them don't like, doxing themselves, and you don't see them in public. You don't see them on Twitter. You don't see them in these shows. But they're there and you're sitting down talking with them. They're doxing themselves to you, and, you get to hear from the people who are really putting value or who have put value into this ecosystem and what they're really doing. This is the cabal that everybody's talking about. And that's why I don't buy into it, because it's all conspiracy bullshit. You see all these groups of people talking shit about the OG cabal. Well, I know most of them and they want this just as bad as anybody else. We can't help that some people saw what Richard was doing and got in. And most of these people, I to be completely honest, the sharks, whales, high dolphins that I know, they're not dumping. They're not monster selling. There was a couple of them that cashed out a little bit here and there. But nobody's just like master selling, trying to hurt the ecosystem, trying to steal from people. None of that. It's not like that. Some of these people made it. They've done well and they've cast some out. But I think that a lot of people in crypto saw what was coming, and and they've gotten in and they've done some selling. So most of the people I know really, really care about this ecosystem, really care about the Hexicans, and want to see it do well. So for whatever
when it comes to like the most toxic thing that people see is like whatever happens on Twitter, but even being a Hexican, you see how toxic Twitter can be. But like you could see like when you actually really get into the community, you could see how like there's a lot of people that are dolphins and like squids and maybe even some freaking sharks that you could understand that nobody was here or put here in a way that's like they were just here to be somebody who was going to dump on the community or like something like that. Like everybody was here thinking they were going to have the same thing. Everybody was on the same terms. Like, I don't know if you know Toby Wan.
Of course.
You do. So yeah. He was a person that openly, like, if it was a community that had people who had big bags and they were going to dump on everybody when the price got high, we wouldn't have people that were open to talking about how much they had at the top and be like, Toby Wan said, like, yeah, 20 million hex. So boom, that was like $10 million at the top. He's not going to come on here and say that if that's another person that's in the cabal that wants to dump $10 million on the community. Like he openly stated, like, bro, I was here, I watched it all, and that's what happened. Shit went down afterwards, of course. Like,
well, I mean,
there's a lot of people, because of how crypto is, it's a lot of just anybody could get in, anybody could get out, vice versa. And there's a lot of people that just gonna come in and say ridiculous shit when it comes to
and that's life. That's investing. Right. That's exactly. Everything is that way, and the problem with crypto is we have a lot of immature people. We have a lot of inexperienced people that don't understand.
Young people.
They don't understand the real world, and they create these narratives that you know, to try it, well, just to try and voice their anger, to voice their contention, voice their fears. And because they have a place to do it and they have places to do it, they do. And even though it's
Because now we have social
uneducated,
media, and it's so new. Which a stream I was watching earlier was about how we have social media now, where anybody could just express themselves on social media, and it's like society doesn't even understand how to express themselves on a freaking public platform at this point. It's like we're still new to all this stuff. So
yeah.
people come on here, they say all kind of crazy shit. People go on talking just wild, like, which you can't even do on Facebook anymore because they're gonna freaking censor the shit out of your ass.
Yeah, that's it. Well, hey, thanks Fast F Little for the 100,000 IDR. Woo! Jesus. I'm gonna get up and dance. It's $6, but hey, thanks a lot, bro. Appreciate you, man.
Looked it up already.
Yeah. Well, I see Crypto King put in there. Thanks for the $6. So anyway, the drama on PulseChain is war. The poor, yes. I heard there is an application for probably for the cabal. Yes, the cabal you have to file an application. Then you have to participate. You have to participate in the sacrifices, and then
both of them.
I think High Priest Hexologist has to do a blood ritual for you, and then you're in the cabal. You will be in the cabal. But you know what I find funny is that before we had social media and everything, I was actually a real live thinking, functioning human being with family and jobs and careers and businesses before social media. So I wasn't a grown adult before social media. Some of you guys were born into social media. It was your life. I was actually a fucking functioning adult before
RG3.
social. So what's that?
RG3. Not to dox you, right? But you're about 55, right?
Well, yeah, a little older than that, but yeah.
A little bit. So you're about double my age, and my generation has lived through like the transformation of no social media to social media. Mm-hmm. So it's always great hearing like the ideals and like the whole history behind back before social media was here. And it's very different.
Well, first of all, when I think back on my life before, when I was a young man, when I was in my 20s to 30s, because literally social media didn't come out until I was like 35, 32, 35. So, I already had, kids and family and jobs and businesses and all that kind of stuff. Already owned a home, so before it was, I think about it and I go, God damn, I'm so glad I didn't have social media back then, because my whole life would have been plastered all over it. And that's the last thing I want anybody to see is what I was doing back then. Right. So, so I'm kind of grateful for that. So yeah, man, like you guys have to live a different kind of life because your life is plastered on this stuff, and I think that's why people are so phony about it. It was funny when I was in Europe, everywhere I went, there was, all these Instagram models everywhere, it's like, see some, you're at some really cool place and all of a sudden you see two girls coming and they're like all makeup and everything. And they get up there and they start doing poses. Like, I mean, like these girls are like, they know model poses, like when people used to take pictures, you'd get up to a place, you'd stand there, you'd take the picture, boom, that was it. Now it's like, and everywhere I went, I saw this, and they were, showing tail, showing legs, showing, whatever and doing their things. And it was like, wow, man, look at this stuff. Like people are just faking the funk on the funky dunk all the time, and trying to make their lives look, and then I see it, in Facebook too. Cause I know my neighbors and my friends and stuff, and I know what's going on with them. And then you go on their Facebook and it's like, everything looks like it's all roses and this and that and the other. And damn good and well, that's not what's going on, but everything looks great. It's like this fake society where everybody's trying to look really good and all the time. put it up on social media. And when I went to Europe, you know, I was planning on, I'm like, I'm going to do a bunch of Instagram. I'm going to get this stuff out. And, you know, it was like, I'm going to make sure that people are, you know, I'm going to participate. And then when I got there, I was like, I don't want to do this shit. And I saw people doing it. I'm like, I ain't doing this. And so I didn't post. I didn't put any, I took a bunch of pictures, but those are for me. And, you know, I met a bunch of people and we took pictures together, but those are for me. I didn't have to post them all over the place and take pictures of all my food and all that shit, you know? And it was a good time. And I stayed away from social media and I felt really good about it because it was like my first time really kind of touring all of Europe. And it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun.
I said you guys went to Amsterdam and Munich.
I didn't go to Amsterdam with them. They all went to Amsterdam, but I did go to Munich. I went to Munich. We did a presentation there for all the Germans and yeah, that was a good time. Good crowd, good group of people. And then from Munich, we did Portugal. That was great. Got to go and see Portugal and visit it and see, you know, what is available there, you know, and because there's, you know, the world is treating your money better elsewhere than in the US if you hold crypto. So, you know, I'm a patriot. I don't want to leave this country. I don't want to not be part of it. I don't want to give up my citizenship.
You mean as far as inflation for each country? That's like people
not
have
just
been
inflation,
saying that.
but taxes, you know, and how they tax you as far as your crypto earnings and whatnot. And, you know, I'm not against, you know, countries doing what they need to do. I'm not an anti-tax guy, but there
it
are
is what it is. But
better ways to
everybody
treat.
keeps talking about how the Tea Party shit has been so minuscule compared to. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
The Tea Party stuff has been so minuscule compared to how bad taxes have been in the recent years.
Yeah. Hold on a second. I'm getting in trouble right now. So
she's yelling at you?
Yeah. Let me bring, I'm going to bring a couple people up. So we got the doctor here. What's happening? Crypto Proctor, how you doing? Good to see you. Good to see you.
Hey there, Captain. Nice to see you again. It's been a while since Vegas, but it's nice to see you.
Has been a while. And everybody, she's been waiting patiently backstage and she doesn't want to bring herself up. She wants the captain to bring her up and introduce her. The positivity princess of the Hex community, also the gal who has Richard's heart because she is the girl from Sci-Fi doing all the work and making things happen there on the Sci-Fi tour. Everybody, oh well, the SJ.
Hello.
I
you didn't need to bring me up. I just wasn't sure if I was allowed to just.
You are always allowed to come on. If everybody else can come on, why wouldn't you be able to come on?
I don't know, because like you get all excited about everybody else, and then like I just stay there in the background. You're like, oh, SJ, like.
Okay, SJ, now you have like all.
Hold on, everybody. Hold on. Okay, everybody. This is SJ. We're all so excited that she's here. She does all the work behind the scenes, produces the show. What else? The tour. Make sure that all the captain stuff is in line. Works for, you know, doesn't work for. She helps Richard with Sci-Fi. I mean, pillar of the community, positivity princess, and she's easy on the eye. So, I mean, is that good enough for you?
Better.
Okay. I just wanted to give her moment in the sun. She was feeling a little underappreciated. So
I didn't mean it like that. But speaking of appreciation, man, this tour.
And you got good team.
You. What?
She has good team.
Oh, why? Thank you.
You know how to talk to the girls there, RG.
What's that?
Is that your chat up line? You've got nice teeth.
Well, that was Fast Abdul was making a comment on her teeth, so I wanted to put that up so she saw it. And
yeah, but what I was saying real quick is just really, you were talking about the tour a little bit, and
Mm-hmm.
I hadn't originally intended to go to Amsterdam or Berlin, but I did end up going to both of those events before the cruise, and it was fantastic. Every stop, every place we went, somebody new got onboarded, somebody made a connection that they didn't have before, and really like seeing people want to continue meeting up after we've done this, like knowing that people live in the same city and didn't know each other before, and now they do, and now they're going to have their own meetups. That is a huge win for me. Like, I think that is one of the biggest positive outcomes that could happen, because this is, and I mentioned this a couple times, but we're not always going to be doing this, and we're transitioning into just doing fewer events but larger events, right? So that means that y'all need to pick up the torch and start hosting events in your hometowns. Start a Telegram or join there's a Hex meetups Telegram. I'll get the link for y'all and put it in there. But anywhere you are in the world, there's likely a Telegram for your city or your country, and there are people around you that you may have never met yet that want to hang out and talk about this stuff. That's another thing, is I had so many people say, every single place we went, just the fact that they got to talk to someone about PulseChain and Hex and what we're in was just such a relief, because their family won't talk to them. Their friends don't want to talk to them about it. They don't have anyone else, or at least they thought they didn't have anyone else. And then they come to the PulseChain tour and they find out, oh, hey, there are other people in my city or, my country or where I'm at that I can connect with and meet up with and have these discussions and continue this conversation with. So I just wanted to put that out there, that, we've all gotten hate, like RG, you're talking about the picture comment that someone made. And, even myself, like, I've gotten hate for just going out here and doing this stuff. And it just is ridiculous to me, because you don't get to see online what we get to see in real life. And if you can come to a meetup, create your own meetup, do something where you get to see someone face to face and have conversations about everything that we're a part of and what we're doing, that's winning. That's building on PulseChain. And I just want to encourage everyone to do that. Okay, Andrant, thank you.
So my first question. Can you guys hear me?
Yep.
Yeah.
Are you guys all going to the October 24th court date?
Absolutely.
Yes, we are having an event there. So we're going to be, it's posted on the PulseChain. It's on the site now, right?
It is on the site. Well, we don't have information yet about the actual event that we're hosting there, in terms of what we're doing after the hearing. So there'll be the hearing, and then we're going to be hosting a small seminar, and then possibly like an after party.
Yep.
Okay.
More than likely an after party.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Yeah, an after party.
Sure.
Real quick, I want to do something real quick. I'm going to pull everybody down for a second, just for a quick second. And that's just I just wanted to honor Robert Kelleher, who's helped us immensely with the TikTok videos, and helped the tour, helped SJ when her bus was broke, and has just been a pillar of the Hexican community, and has helped this show and me myself out a lot. And I appreciate him for it, because he's done it without any pay, without any real appreciation. I mean, he knows I appreciate him. But something that happened to me a couple of years ago, my father passed away, and it was right when we started Discourse Syndicate. I didn't have anybody to take over, and that's when my partner Kinetics came in, and he took over the show and helped out while I was gone, taking care of my family's affairs and the loss of my father. So Robert apparently just lost his father. So my heart goes out to you, Robert. Sorry to hear that. I know what it's meant to me. And in fact, literally today, I have a little jar of my dad's ashes. I saw those in the room and I picked them up, and so much I'd like to talk to him about today that I can't. And that always gets me in you know, and the feels. So for those of you out there who have lost your father, Robert, I'm really sorry to hear about that. And my family's best out to you, and the stream here and the PulseChain tour out to you. And I'm going to give you a quick moment of silence. All right. Not to bring the mood down, but that just to honor somebody who's helped us out a lot. So that's for you, Robert. Thanks a lot, bro. And again, sorry to hear. All right.
So, just on that point,
yes,
I lost my dad as well. Well, actually, a lot of years ago now, 10 years ago. I speak to him all the time, though. I have no problem with that. I mean, even if I'm speaking to an empty space at the end of the day, it makes me feel better, and I know he'd want me to feel better. I personally don't believe I'm speaking to an empty space, but you know, even if I was, it doesn't make any difference. And actually, I scatter some of his ashes underneath an apple tree, and I speak to the apple tree every now and then as well when I first planted it.
Yeah,
so, that's pretty good for healing.
Yeah, it is. And then just recently, my son's he's moved away. He's in Japan. He's needed to talk to me. So when I was out in Europe, I got a chance to spend some time and have a nice long talk with him. So yeah, if your dad's still around and, even if you do or don't have a relationship with him, it's important. Make it happen and give him a call because you never know what'll happen. And you never know, that just, I remember, so many times that so much time would go by before I'd even talk to my dad. And now I think all the time, the things that I'd like to share with him, talk to him with him about, just stupid little things, I would have spent more time doing so. So get on the phone, folks, call your dad, even if it's just ridiculous stuff.
Just to emphasize that one, Captain, I came back from, I think, Iraq, Afghanistan, or whatever, and I was doing some seminars, chiropractic seminars. They can be a little bit woo, but the guy on stage said they did a study on people that were on the deathbed, and no one on the deathbed said, "Oh, I wish I'd spent more time at work," or I wish I'd done some more overtime. What they actually said was, "I wish I'd made peace with my brother or my sister, or so that I could spend the last few hours with them." But this guy, very wise guy, he was the head of the biggest chiropractic school in the world, a guy called Reichman. But anyway, he said they didn't really want to spend time with them before they died. They just wanted to commune with them. They just want to connect with them as human beings properly. So he actually said to us in the audience, he said, if you've got someone you're estranged from, get out there. When we finish this talk, get on the phone, speak to them. Even if you can't speak to them, then write a letter. If you can post it, great. If you can't, it doesn't matter. Just get it written. And at the time I was estranged from my dad was a big drinker. And I had a lot of resentment towards him. So when he said this, I thought, yeah, I'll do it. So I got on and we're all rah-rahed up because you get the jacuzzi effect when you're at the seminar. So I rang him and said to him, Dad, yeah, I love you, Dad. And it went silent. Because he's not the sort of, his dad was special forces in the Second World War, so he's seen a lot of stuff. So his dad was not like an emotional guy at all. And anyway, I got home and I said to him, or I took him out. And when I was a kid, he used to take me out for Kentucky Fried Chicken because that was a big deal in the UK in the kind of early 80s. That was the thing he remembered. So I took him out for the old Portuguese chicken, the peri-peri chicken. And I said to him, I was at a seminar and I rang up and said, I loved you. And he says, yeah. I says, I do love you, Dad. And he says, great, son. I love you too. And that almost blew my socks off when he said that. And the thing is, when he did die, although he was an alcoholic and, there was a lot of time he was away from me, he actually taught me a lot, even though he was away from me, or even if it was that he taught me what I didn't want to do when I, had a family. But when he died super suddenly. And I didn't get a chance to say goodbye. But the fact is I had 10 years, because I did that, I reached out. I had 10 years of real quality time with him. So I'd highly recommend if people are estranged from loved ones to to try and make a connection one way or another, even if it's just in thought. It's amazing what can happen. Thanks.
Yeah. And let's take it one step further, appreciating other human beings for who they are and not, just blowing everybody off or people that you think you don't like off. Like I said earlier in the show, I like the Misfits. So the people that came at me the hardest in the early days, the people that would come in and meme and talk shit, I leaned into them. I wanted to know who they were and what made them tick and why they felt the way they did. Because if they really knew me, I don't think they'd feel that way. I don't think they'd say the things they did, and that's why I like going out on these tours, because I've met people that don't like me. I've met people that thought that I was this or thought I was that, or even came there to do harm. Some people have told me, they're coming there to whoop my ass or whatever. And nobody has, not that they tried, but nobody has done anything they said they were going to do or showed up and the people that were saying those things. But usually what happens is even the people that I've talked to that didn't like me, had an unfavorable opinion of me, we worked it out. We talked about it, and they found out who I really was and what I really meant and what I was really trying to do. And I found out who they were, and we ended up, hey, we agree on a lot of things, and, you're cool, I'm cool. Let's have sit down, have a drink, have a cigar or whatever. And everything was good after that, Khalil, you were going to say something?
I know you said that you were like a blue collar worker, but what did you do beforehand?
I was what was called by trade. I was a millwright. I wasn't a real millwrights are very technical people. They do very precision work. I was in a class of millwright where I was what they call a rigger. I moved big shit. That's what I did. I picked machines up. I picked up fish tanks. I picked up pizza ovens, you name it, everything that was heavy in industry. I worked at Skunk Works. I worked at SpaceX. I worked for Northrop Grumman. I worked for NASA.
At SpaceX? That's pretty
cool.
Yeah,
I worked at SpaceX for years and years and years. If we put the capsule that hangs up in the room when you see the control room and you see the capsule hanging there, we put that up in the roof. I moved all their machines. I was the only one allowed to move the capsule that carried the first humans up to the space station, loaded it back and forth, moved it to testing facilities and whatnot, and then sent it to Florida when it went. Did all kinds of stuff for SpaceX. Worked for NASA. Worked on the program for the rovers, the Mars rovers, back in the day. And so I did a lot of that stuff, but moved heavy equipment. Picked up a press. Me and my team, the biggest pick we ever did was 1.2 million. So I picked 1,200,000 pounds up, and we rebuilt a press in California, one of the biggest presses here. At the time, it was one of the biggest presses. There's a couple more now that are bigger, but so that's what I did. I moved big shit, and in the years of doing so, literally, I woke up in the morning, put my boots on in the dark, went to work, came home, took my boots off when it was dark, and that was my life. 6-7 days a week sometimes. Sometimes I'd leave and my family was asleep, and I'd come home and my family was still, back in bed. So that was the kind of life I lived. I was a blue collar worker. Didn't have no shame in it, but I always had a side gig, always had a business on the side to try and make ends meet, because I wanted to keep my wife at home to raise the kids, because that was her dream and what she wanted. And in order to do so out here in California, you better have a plan B, because even if you have a good job, it's going to be hard to raise a family. And yes, Soil, I am an expert in leverage. That is one thing that I can do. I can make a forklift that can only pick 13,000 pounds up, pick 20,000 pounds. I did all that stuff. Yes, that was what I am. I'm an expert in leverage.
A couple things I wanted to say.
Yeah.
I liked how, like, I get that from you. I get how you're like a real good dude and you do what you're supposed to do 100% from the movie and both watching you on stream and stuff like that. And then I liked how when I went to go stream with you last time, what happened was my son came in the room and he's about 3 years old. So I had hopped on stream with you guys. It was like a month and a half ago, maybe. And I rewatched the stream, of course. I watched that like 2 or 3 times. And when I rewatched it, I seen how when my son came in the room, of course he was whining. And he was like, eh. And I was like, went to go get him. And you were like, that's a real man right there. And I was like, that means a lot coming from RG3 because that's 100% like, that's what you got to do. You know what I mean? You can try to stream all you want, but you got your kids, all that shit stops for that.
Yeah, and that's cool. You know, one of the things, you know, and coming from that, like I came from, I mean, I'm just trying to let people know what type of people we are. I think that that's important. And I think that's why these events that we do are important, so that we can really understand and know who we all are. You know, I grew up in the streets. I grew up in Inglewood. I grew up in some pretty harsh neighborhoods. I became a Marine to get out of those neighborhoods. I came back.
That's what I was thinking. You were a Marine at some point.
Yeah. I was in the Marine Corps, and did my time there as a grunt. I was an 0311. So I was walking around with a rifle and a pack, and didn't learn any really awesome skills. They just taught us how to kill people and eat them, came home and just the streets ate me back up, and then eventually somebody eventually helped me, came in and gave me what I call a hand up, not a handout, and said, hey, you got to straighten your shit up. This is what you need to do. You need to be a better man. If you want to live life on life's terms, this is how you're going to need to act. And so I took that to heart because I didn't want to go where I was going at the time. And I've always appreciated that. And I've always been there for the underdog. I've always wanted to do better. I've always wanted our country to do better. And that's, just who I am. And then when I usually can pick people out, because I didn't, like the doctor was talking about, and I don't blame my father at all. I was raised by my stepfather. My real father was in prison, by the time I was 2 years old, and spent his life, in and out of prison. I didn't know that. But my stepfather, who raised me, he was ill-equipped. His father died when he was really, really young, and he did his thing. And but he made sure a roof was over my head, and I ate and all that stuff. So we didn't have a real close relationship until later on in life. But I looked for mentors eventually, because I thought mentors were the people that were in the streets with me, and it was kind of bullshit. They really wanted stuff from me. There were a few people that I learned things from, but usually the street, isn't the place to get all that. But anyway, good mentors came into my life, and what they taught me is that, to whom much is given, much is expected. Meaning, if your life changes from the wisdom and the things that people brought to you and the help that people have given you, then you need to, pass that on. And, that's what I've been trying to do here in cryptos. I saw Richard as one of those guys. Richard is one of those guys that's a mentor. He's a good mentor. And, he's younger than me, but he is wiser and smarter in areas that I'm not wise and smart in. And he's taught me a lot, and I've learned a lot from him. And I saw Richard as one of those real solid, good guys that, I've met along the way in life. And so even though he and I don't have a real tight personal relationship, we've met, we like each other, and all that kind of stuff. And we've obviously through 2D and watching streams, we know each other that way. But that's what I wanted to show people, is because we don't talk like this anymore. They don't make people like this anymore. I'm sorry. I don't hear people talking like this. I hear a lot of bullshit and people talking out of the side of their neck who have never experienced real life, real hardships. You know, I mean, I'm looking on the streets today and we got all this homeless problem. We got homeless people with cell phones, fucking cell phone. They're sitting there with a cell phone on. How bad is it if you're on a street corner with a cell phone, right? When I was on the streets, I was looking for ketchup packets for dinner. You know, I didn't have no damn cell phone when I was on the streets, when I was living on the street. So anyway, I want to see people be better, you know, and I think that this community has that in it. Now, right now, it doesn't look like it because we got a lot of noise. We got a lot of people talking shit about people like us who have done nothing but give. Like, for anybody to come at me sideways, like, if I was to dox myself and open up my bank accounts to everybody, they'd be like, holy shit, RG, you're an idiot. You've been spending money on this community for 4 or 5 years and getting on stream and talking, spending your time, your money, your effort, your family's time for these unappreciative sons of bitches, right? You know, and something inside me tells me that doesn't matter. Those people don't matter. It's the ones that I help. It's the ones that I touch. It's the ones that get it. It's the ones that appreciate. Because when I do go to a foreign country and I sit in a room and there's only 10 people there and they come up to me and they appreciate the fact that I've been there and they're so glad that I was there and thanks and da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da, you know, that makes it all worth it. And I made another friend. I broadened our network. I connected with people who are like-minded like us. And that's what this community really needs. It doesn't need all the noise and the false, you know, narratives that are out there of my thing is best and I know best and, you know, fuck this and fuck that. And, you know, and that's not the way it is. You know, we need to all learn from each other. We need to all come together. And, you know, and I saw it early on. We had detractors from early on, people that, you know, they just, for whatever reason, they don't like you, whether they just don't vibe with you or they're jealous of you or whatever it is, you know, they're in competition with you. I've never been like that. You know, I've never wanted to bring anybody else down. I've just wanted to lift us all up. You know, I've never admitted, I've admitted it. I'm not the smartest guy. I'm not the best guy. I'm not the best streamer. I'm not, you know,
but you know, like who to listen to when it comes down to it. And I think what I wanted to say was, I think Richard is he's obviously controversial in the aspect that he's a very smart individual coming into a space where not everybody is top notch. Like, we're not all in the stock market and stuff like that. But Richard came here to a space where there's a bunch of degens and he's bringing some of the best stuff to the world. So he's going to get, like you said, there's all kinds of different peoples through all the walks of life that are all over the world into this one space to understand something that's pretty complex and trying to bring everybody to the top. But it's very different because, number one, there's a whole bunch of different freaking currencies all over the world that everybody's coming into this with, and there's different aspects, different cultures. And he came here trying to bring a bunch of different people all over the world to the top when there's obviously 8 billion people in the world. And it's very different. So, like, he's getting you, which, I mean, not to dox you, but you've said it before, you're from LA, and they could be somebody in the middle of, like, I don't know, South Africa or whatever, and they're coming from a different walk of life, listening to Richard, and they're consuming his knowledge and all of his content in a different way. Like, it's a very different thing that I feel like has never been done before, to where, like, if you were to explain to somebody what hex is or any of this stuff is in crypto, everybody's going to absorb it differently. Like,
and that's
too different to just break down to the average person what's going on here.
And you know, and I don't say, hey, I'm from LA, I'm from the streets of LA to brag. I say it so that people understand who I am, where I'm coming from, So it gives people a better idea of
Right.
who you are, you know,
Exactly.
and that way they can relate to you in whatever way, or understand that they don't relate to you in a way. Because I don't relate to a guy that grew up in a farm outside of Amsterdam, you know, as far as our you know, our experience that we had as we grew up. I'm not saying that it's any better or any worse. It's just we've had different experiences, and
Exactly.
you know,
It's different.
you got to look at where somebody else's perspective is coming from, and so I'm giving a little bit of myself to people so they understand who I am and where I come from, so that they can adjust and understand and say, oh well, the reason RG is like this, and see, and then that gives us the ability, if we share with one another. So I always talk about this thing called trust. And I'm sorry, I'm going to bring Farmer Jay up, but I'm going to finish my thought here. Good to see you, Farmer Jay, my fellow Hart.
Damn.
So
hello from Inglewood, California, by the way.
Inglewood. Always up to no good. So I talk about this thing called trust, and trust is the most important asset that we all have. And you have it equally to give as you do to take from other people. In order to trust somebody, in order to gain trust with somebody, you have to give them trust. You have to trust them. It's how relationships work. It's an equation. Trust is literally an equation, and you lose trust or gain trust by the things you do and say and be. So it's important to be able to give people a little piece of yourself if you want to get to know them, if you want to understand them, if you want to have some type of relationship with them. Now, people that don't want to be doxxed, they don't want to deal with nobody, that's fine. You don't have to. But if you are looking for the value in human beings, because what I value, because it took me so long to learn about things in my life, because it took me so long to actually, you know, be a human being that, you know, brushed his teeth and took a bath and made his bed and all, you know, it took me a long time to learn the basic, you know, everyday things that everybody else did normally. And so I value people younger than me, people older than me, because they may be able to speak into my life a little bit, because I share a little bit of myself with them, and they go, well, hey, RG, I actually got something for RG. I can help him in this area, or I can say something. And whether I'm receptive to that or not is, you know, up to me. But that's what it is. It's about trust. It's about sharing a little bit of each other with each other so that we can all grow. You know, I had to trust Richard in order to get his knowledge, his wisdom, and his understanding of crypto so that I can learn it. I had to trust him. A lot of people didn't trust him. So guess what? They didn't learn what Richard had to offer because they didn't trust him. They didn't put that trust in him. And it's the same thing with all of us. Like the doctor here, I'm sure he's got a whole bunch, a wealth of information there that he could help us with, that he could help you with, that he could change your life with, you know. And that's because he's been around a while. He's a wise man. He's done good things in his life and probably made mistakes and might be able to speak into yours. So it's important to build these relationships with people, network, because your network is your net worth. If you never heard that, that's important. People that you put around you, and the 5 people you spend the most time with is basically where you're going to be in life, statistically, monetarily.
Can I add to that?
Successfully. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, what's funny is, like, I've always found that people say that is your network is your network is your net worth. And a lot of times, just like the same way maybe you know somebody who's an employer job, you get your job because of the fact that you know somebody who knows the employer, not because of the fact that you know how to do the job. You go to college, and because somebody at the college knows somebody that could employ you, you won't get the job because of the fact that you went to the college. Not because of the simple fact that you went to the college and was a student, but because you now know somebody who's an employer or relative something similar, you can now get a job somewhere because you ended up meeting somebody who's an employer somewhere. And that's a lot of time what the fact is. The fact of the matter is. It's the same way in politics. You ain't going to get into politics or become the freaking president if you're not related to somebody that's already in politics.
Yes.
Yeah, could I speak to the couple of things you mentioned there, Captain? The first one you mentioned a little bit earlier, mentors. I'd just like to throw that out. I've done quite a lot of work with like kind of multimillionaires in the past, and they all talk about getting a mentor group. And I used to think it meant having to invest a ton of money. But then one guy said, well, look, just ask around, because probably very close to you, there's someone that is doing what you want to do. And at the time, obviously, this was probably 15, 20 years ago. I actually set up a business. I came out of the military. I set up a business. I'd been to a few of these business groups and was trying to sort myself out some mentors. And within crypto, there's a lot of my mentors are much, much younger than me, because I'm being a Gen X. I'm only on the cusp of technology. So mentors come in all shapes and sizes. But the cool thing is, if you have like the moral courage just to reach out, often the person you're looking for is very, very close to you. I'll give you, for example, I was renting a place for the chiropractic office, and the guy would always come around and collect the rent in hand. I never really thought much about this chap. Let's just call him Peter. Peter would come around. He'd always take the rent in hand. And at this time, I was doing these groups with these kind of really super mega rich, let's face it, they're salesmen. At the end of the day, the people that are selling these courses are salesmen. You do need to be conscious of that. But they said about asking a mentor, and I was just chatting to this chap, and he says, oh, I don't just do rentals. I've got loads of businesses. And I'm like, what, really? I just thought he owned this one block of that I had my room in. So I said to him, can I take you out for lunch? And taking someone out for lunch is the most inexpensive way to get, 1,000x your money, because the information you can get from someone because of a lunch, or a network you can build, or a relationship or trust you can build because of buying them lunch and sharing a meal with them is insane. So this chap, I sat down with him and we were eating, and this was 2006. And he said, oh, I've got a big software business. And I'm like, what? He says, yeah, we're working with Microsoft and we're working on streaming software. You know how you get a disk at the moment and you own the software. Well, he says in a few years' time, you're going to be renting the software because you're going to have to stream it, because, of course, they want to keep ownership of it. And he was working on that. And I just thought he was just the guy that came around and picked up rent. But he was like a multi-millionaire. I didn't even realize that I'd known him for 2 or 3 years. So the power of mentorship is incredible. And that's like, I run a little channel, Dr. H, the crypto practitioner. And I personally, I bought at the top. I'm definitely not in the green. I was momentarily, but I'm not now. But I have absolute belief in the products that I've got, and in the majority of the Richard Hart products. And by using mentors like yourself, RG, and a lot of other guys that are in this circuit, I've really expanded my knowledge of crypto. And I want to bring some traditional financial principles to bear. So it's things like the teachings of the richest man in Babylon, for example. I mean, that book is almost 100 years old. So I am going to start our show on midday on Sundays. So before you have your Sunday lunch, or after you come back from church, if you want a little bit of financial principle, and we're going to bring some mentors in that are in the community that want to come in and talk on various subjects. So I'm going to start the richest man in Babylon, and I hope to put together the chapters. We'll see how it goes. If you guys would like to join and give me some feedback of like if it's too much or too little, because we're going to go chapter by chapter. So each week we're going to do a new chapter. Going to get questions from the chat halfway through the show, questions at the end, and obviously probably have a bit of a chit chat at the end for people that have got questions and answers and stuff. But at the end, I hope to bring all the recordings together and perhaps use a little bit of AI, or perhaps get some actual live people in, and maybe we can construct a richest man in Hexico. That's what I would like to have at the end.
I was going to say, is the endpoint getting enriched through Hex or
Sorry?
something else?
What was that, Khalid?
Is the endpoint getting enriched through Hex or
is the endpoint of
else?
what? The endpoint is getting rich through wealth. It doesn't matter it doesn't matter how much money you've got in crypto. If you don't know how to look after it, you're going to lose your health. And I'm all about maintaining your wealth and maintaining your health. I'm all about abundance. And that comes in lots of different ways, not necessarily monetary. You can't measure love or pain. They're immeasurable. You know, there's no way of measuring. I can't put a meter on you and saying you've got like 5 out of 10 pain, or you love that person 30 out of 100. It just is. So there's some things that aren't quantifiable. And actually, I think the main principles, because that's where I am at the moment. I've got a huge belief, but it's founded in a deep principles of crypto that I love, are the fact that it is an exchange of value that is divorced from the government. And that's never existed before Bitcoin. Well, apart from obviously bartering. But it's an exchange of value on the computer, isn't it? This divorce from the government, and that is powerful. Freedom of expression through money, I think, super important. Freedom of expression through health, and there's a lot of areas in a country of freedom like the United States where you don't have freedom of health. But I'm not going to get into that.
Right. I like that.
Yeah, thank you. So yeah, we're just going to talk about the broad principles, but of course it is going to be a Hex. It's going to be a Richard Hart show. I won't be discussing anything. In fact, if you check out my channel, the Crypto Practor, it's all Hex stuff. I don't shill anything. I have no coins. I have no courses. I don't tend to have any coins. But everyone seems to say that nowadays, and then all of a sudden there are a fucking bag of coins that pop up.
Right. Exactly.
So yeah, I'm not interested in that. That's too long term. I want to be a holder, and yeah.
RG, where's the coin?
What's that?
Where's the coin?
Where's the coin?
He's asking, I think, about an RG3 coin.
No, man, not gonna do it. Now I've been behind a couple of them, and I think Hedron, with what Alex did with Hedron was good, and the GiffTEC guys, what they did was good. But I don't shill these things. I don't jump all over them and do streams about them and all that. But I've watched good projects come out. We've got a lot of good stuff on PulseChain already. I think we've got just about everything we need.
Right.
And it's going to be interesting to see when we do start to get adoption, when we do start to see retail come in, how much of this stuff gets used. A lot of good things that were on Ethereum have been forked over. And those products are here to use, DeFi products, and they're Hexicans that built them, put them together. I'm not going to say they were all flawless launches or they all did really well, or that the communities didn't take advantage of one another and pump and dump them and all that kind of stuff. But there are good things that were built on them, built on PulseChain, and that's up to everybody and what they're going to do with it. I've always said that the only investment that I really trust is Hex, and everything else is suspect. PulseChain has to prove itself. So far it has.
I had a quick,
has to prove itself.
I had just a quick comment on when you were talking about mentorship. And, I think RG3 went specifically into like looking at mentorship at wrong groups of people, right? Growing up, probably the same way I did, right? And I think for a lot of the young guys that are out here, if they have no direction in life, like getting into the trades is actually a great idea. And then you look into mentorship through the older guys in the trade that probably already lived the kind of life you lived, or they went through hard times, and they can basically guide you through life, and specifically your trade. Especially if you're a young apprentice, you look to the older guys for advice. And sometimes when you're in the trades as an older guy that's been in the trades for a while, you look out for the younger guys that are just coming up. You try to give them advice. I've always thought that the trades was a great way for young men to go, particularly if you have no direction, just go out there and find yourself a trade And if you want to decide what you want to do later with your life, well, at least you can make some money at the moment and pick up a useful skill while you're doing that. Like I'm sure RG3, like you were mentioning some of the projects you were on, they're freaking great projects to be on. Like you did things that some people would never do, right? Like picking some of this stuff up. Like I'm pretty familiar with riggers do. They usually set our gear for us, like the big gear, like while we're standing there and just looking, you know, and they're doing all the hard work. But so like the trade for anybody that doesn't have any direction, especially for young guys, it's a great way to go.
Yeah, and something that kind of I wasn't, you know, I don't like to generalize, you know, like groups of people, especially younger generations, you know, because I think that the younger generations are the future. They're going to be, you know, the people that bring us home and make my life better as an old man. But what I noticed, you know, as I got to the end of my career, you know, when I was the director of the whole, you know, division, and I was building it, you know, in 3 different locations all up and down California, and I was hiring young men. I was noticing a different kind of work ethic, a different kind of look at the trades, and my trade wasn't a glamorous job. It wasn't a good job. It was a tough job. A lot of the guys, you know, didn't get paid a lot. They wasn't like they were electricians or plumbers or fitters or any of that kind of pipe fitters or anything like that. They were very underpaid. But you know, it was an honest living, and I just didn't see the enthusiasm for it. You know, the people that came to work for me, they all were looking for something else. They were looking for a desk job. They were looking for, you know, getting into an office and stuff. But if you are somebody who's getting in the trades, go in there and get in there and make something of yourself in it and embrace it, you know, or don't get into it because, you know, the world is going to need people, and this country is going to need people to do work. You know, there's stuff out there that needs to be done that can't be done with AI or machines. You know, it's still, there's still labor that needs to be done, and it's a good living for people. If you put your mind to it, you put your effort into it, you know, there's a good living out there, and it is rewarding if you do go through the trades and you can, you know, mentor and teach other people and help them to better their careers and stuff. It is rewarding.
Yeah, and I think what most young people don't understand, when you get into the trades, you're not going to be making very good money. It's not till later in your career that you're actually acquire the skills where you can actually demand the money that you want. But that takes a while. But most guys, just like crypto, they want to go in and they want to be a success.
They want it now.
Yeah, and it doesn't work like that, and nothing works like that in life. If you want to be good at something, you actually have to put in the time to be good, right? And like, but like, I don't think most people have that discipline nowadays. They have that they want that instant gratification.
Yeah. No, I remember when you know, when my mentor was telling me, you know, you get your ass to work, you get there early, you leave late, you know, this and that. You're never you're always on time. Boom, boom, boom. And so my first day as a rigger was, I was sweeping floors. Like, I swept the whole warehouse for like 3 days before they even knew I was there. They're like, "What are you doing in here? Who are you?" You know, "I'm a new guy, da da da." "Oh shit, well, let's, you know, put you in the rigging room, make you clean out the rigging room." Then clean the rigging room, and then, you know, and then work my way up, you know, before I knew it, and just stuck with it, just kept doing it. You know, it was always one of those things that they told me, you know, "Hey, if you're going to sweep the floors better than anybody else. You know, if you're gonna clean up a gear room, clean up that gear room better than anybody else." You know, and that's what I just did until I worked my way into, you know, being a driver and a foreman and then leading jobs and all that kind of stuff. And but that's a different kind of lifestyle for people. You know, not all the people in crypto or you won't want to do that. But, you know, if you are looking to, you know, advance yourself and you're not working and you're, you know, trying to get more crypto, I'm telling you, the trades is a good way to go. There's money to be made there. People are making a lot more money in the trades now than I ever did. You know, I was hiring guys going, "Damn, man, the money they're getting now, I almost want to go back out in the field." You know, and
I was gonna say a couple things. Is that
Yeah, it's
You get
just a
started
lack.
at $18
There's a lack
an
of
hour.
manpower out here.
Yeah, there's a lack of manpower, and they're really paying. They're really
Like
paying
there's a
well.
lot of people out here that just they don't want to sweat for a living. So like you said, they want more of the
Right.
office works. But if you actually want to put in the time and learn a trade, you can actually make. You're not going to live an exorbitant lifestyle, but you can live a decent life, a decent, honest life. You know, and to me, that's the most important thing: an honest life. You know, where you're not having to worry about that you're engaged in anything wrong. It's like it's an honest, good life, and you have a good skill trade that you like. Even if you move to another region or any part of the world, like you have that skill. Nobody can take that away from you, and you can actually use that anywhere else.
Yep. And the one
100%.
thing that I had when I was in the trades was I was always able, even though I was beat the hell up and I was tired, I was always able to lay my head on my pillow at night, and there was nothing that I was worried about. There was nothing going through my head when it came to my job that I was, like I had done something wrong or whatever. It was always an honest day's work. I got out of there, got home, and then did it all over again the next day. But now there was a time in my career where I wanted to advance, and I was given an opportunity to leave the trades and move into sales because I was being mentored and taught that the most important skill or the highest paid skill in the world is sales. Mm-hmm. So I said, okay, well, I'm going to take this opportunity. And I went and worked for a big giant telecommunications company. Let's just call them the Death Star. And I started working for them in sales, banging the phones, making phone calls. Before I knew it, I'd worked myself into being an account manager in the healthcare field and all this. And so I learned the skill of sales. But even though I was in an office, I was still beat up and tired when I got home. And there was a long time there with the way that company operated that I wasn't putting my head on my pillow and feeling good about what I was having to do or what they were making me do every day, and I really didn't like that. I liked the skill that I got from it. And I liked helping customers better their businesses or whatever. But when it came down to, that bottom line that they wanted me to sell this amount of this and whether it worked or not, I had to sell it and all this kind of crap. That's where it really ate into my soul. Mm-hmm. But I tell you, that skill I learned then. And then I went back to the trades because I just couldn't take it anymore. I literally quit and said, hey, I'm not doing your guys' dirty work anymore. That's it. I'm gone.
Yeah, like you said, you had that skill set that you could just go back like, hey, like.
And I did.
And if you're in the trades long enough and within a circle of whatever you're doing, that people usually know you, they remember you. Oh,
always
this guy's good. Yeah.
You always
Absolutely.
have it.
You touched some really important points there, Captain. I mean, you have done throughout this whole thing there, but you mentioned earlier about the trust and things and being on time. And as a tradesperson, you had to be on time all the time. Now, as a doctor, as a chiropractor, a lot of people come to me very suspicious about chiropractic. Maybe they watch too many YouTube videos or whatever. So for me, I've got to build trust right from the get-go. One of the most important things is a super, super small thing, using their name correctly, using the name that they like. So like if their name's Christopher, but they like to be called Chris, you make sure you always call them Chris, because you know that Christopher was the name that their mother was using them when they were being told off. So just little things like that. And you mentioned earlier about time and how by being on time. And I've always been pretty poor. I've been pretty slovenly with time. But if I tell someone that I'm going to adjust them at 1 and they're going to be finished by 1:15, then I made a promise to them. So if I'm being slovenly in my time, if I'm being lax, and 2 or 3 times I arrive at 10 past instead of on the hour, then they get sick and they leave. And that's a lot of money's worth. And it's not so much the money, it's the fact that they've lost trust in me. So over the last few years, I've just realized how vitally important trust is, and how when you say you're going to be somewhere at a time, you're actually making a promise with that person. So either you renegotiate that promise if you can't make it before the event. And at the moment, I'm recruiting people, and it is insane what people think is acceptable. So making appointments to come and have an interview and then just not showing up without letting you know, it's just insane at the moment.
That blew me away. That
it's got really bad over the last couple of years. But I mean, I'm not here to complain. The point is being on time. Writing a letter if you've got something wrong with someone. That's what I'm doing now. I'm writing letters to my patients when I'm late. I've got some coffee cards that I give them. It's only a $5 coffee card. And there's actually a book called, and I think everyone in chiropractic should read this one. It's actually a book called Selling the Invisible. And what it's to do with is when a person that sells services. So obviously I'm a chiropractor. I don't have an object to sell you. I sell a service. But it has 50 little hints and tips on what you can do to sell invisible products. And obviously crypto is Greek for hidden. It actually means done by hidden means. So there's some hints and tips in there that are invaluable. But one of the stories talks about a guy at a department store, and he actually names this person, and he says that, like, Bob came into the store and his trousers, his pants that were meant to have been tailored and ready weren't ready. And James was so mortified, and he was a brand new salesperson, but he knew that he was absolutely mortified. And he said to Bob, we're going to get this sorted. This is not acceptable. It isn't going to happen. We're going to get it. You ordered them 2 weeks ago. We said they'd be ready. They're not ready. I'm going to get it done. And as soon as it's done, I'm personally going to bring them to you across town and deliver them to your house. And the guy was so blown away by the fact that, yes, he'd made a mistake, but he was willing to make up for it, and more than make up for it, that he bought 3 pairs of pants, 2 shirts, and 2 pairs of shoes while he was there in the store. And that was just because of the level of service that he got and the level of trust, because obviously the company had lost that trust in that moment, but he did such a good job at recovering it. And the point that it makes in your business, or I guess it could be in your life, if something breaks down, that isn't necessarily a bad thing. The way you respond to that breakdown is actually what makes all the difference. And in this case, this guy made a 3x for his company, where he could have made a complete loss. He could have been a minus 1x there if he walked on. Yeah. So yeah, just those little things that you talk about that you're really good at. And I've spent some time. I've been blessed to spend some time with you, and I know when you say something's going to happen, it happens. So I know I can trust you, and you don't always have that. That's for sure.
So I want to tell us a quick story, and this is what I try and explain to people when it comes to wisdom and knowledge, and because it's experiences that make us who we are, and I was taught by a mentor, hey, come in early, never be late, and I did that for a long time. And my boss, the owner of the company, one day he said, well, hey, if you're ever going to be late, make sure it's for a good reason. You better be having a great time that night or something like that. Right. And I remember I was out on a Friday night, and I ended up out somewhere where I probably shouldn't have been, and spent time somewhere with somebody that, anyway, I was enjoying myself, and I was up way too late. And so I got on the phone that morning. I was trying to get my clothes and everything together, and like, hey, I'm going to be a little late. It was a Saturday morning. So I kind of blew it off a little bit. I blew off my tenant, my what I had said I was going to do. And so I get to work, and this is kind of a long story, but I need to tell it like this. So I get to work and ready to go on my job, and he's like, so I was supposed to go and lead a job with a new driver. We had a new guy that was a driver, a Class A driver, and he was going to go out with me, and he was going to be my helper, and we were going to go move this switchgear. I'm sorry, a UPS unit, which is a big cabinet with batteries in it. Weighs about 5,000-6,000 pounds, and I usually go over across data floors and stuff, whatever. UPS backup system, and so You gotta leave, Khalil. I'll see you, bud.
Yeah, I'm gonna have, guys. Thank you guys for having me.
So the boss tells me, he says, I had to send Paul out, which was the guy in the yard who'd been there for years and years. He was a guy who never could be kind of a foreman, but he was the yard guy. He knew a lot. He had knowledge, but he was never really a lead guy. He was just always there, taking care of the stuff and been around for a long time. So he sent that guy out with the driver because the driver could drive the equipment out there, and Paul was, knowledgeable enough to handle the job. So I'm there working in the yard doing Paul's job. Got a call into the office, going to the office, and my boss is like white as a ghost. Just, what's wrong? And he looks at me, and he's got the phone in his hand. He said, Paul didn't make it. And I said, what do you mean Paul didn't make it? And he said, the machine just crushed Paul. And I said, what? And so, I'm not going into detail, but he made a mistake, and he had an experienced man on site with him, and they did something wrong, which he shouldn't have done. And the machine, the UPS unit fell over and crushed Paul up against the wall and killed him. And so I was like thinking, man, I came into work late, and Paul had to go out and do my job, and it killed him, And so just things like that happen in your life that just changed the way. And I was never late to work again a day in my life after that, not a single day. And it was because for 1 second I let my guard down. For one time, I stopped doing what I was used to doing, and that changed me profound. It was profound in what it did to me. I always thought about that. I always thought about, what if I went late? And but of course I didn't blame myself. Eventually I had to, let it go. But it was profound how these type of things that happen in your life, and it's all about how you react to it too, and what you do after, and that makes your character and who you are. So, you never know what people have been through. You never know what people have done and what makes them tick until you get to know them. And you need to watch for people like that, and, choose them as your mentors, because those people, they've been through stuff. They know things. They've experienced stuff that you may not want to experience. And, of course, usually when people try and teach us, knowledge and wisdom, we don't like to listen, or we don't listen. But there's some very valuable lessons in there. And people have been through some hardships, or learned some good things, and you should really pay attention to that.
I got crushed by the UPS. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm familiar with how heavy those things are. Like, wow. Like, yeah. Even if it smashes you on the side of the wall, you're done. And you're 6,000 pounds. That's probably weighs more than that.
It was those Liebert cabinets back in the day. They had about, I don't know, 20. They have basically car batteries in them. It's like a big.
Yeah, but for what did you say? It's for like data centers and things.
Yeah, it was a data center.
Those cabinets are. Yeah, even it doesn't take much to crush a human. Even 1,000 pounds will crush you.
No, yeah, it took 10 construction workers that were there to actually pull it off of them and get it off them. But it was too late by then already. It was, he would up against the wall, and it was a tough deal. But unfortunately, for him and his family and all that, and the people that had to experience it. But again, there's a lesson to be learned there. And in my opinion, it was at a time when I let my guard down. Just kind of slacked off from something that I had, held as a tenant, paid a big price for it. Somebody else paid a big price for it. So anyway. Again, not to put a bummer on things, but
yeah. It's never a good thing, when you're on the job site and somebody, there's an accident with a fatality. It's like, that could have been any one of us, but it's not. So we're here. So not to put a bummer on it.
Yeah, and in that industry, I've seen a few of them. You know, you never know. You never know. So anyway, we haven't talked about crypto at all tonight. Not that there's anything exciting going on in crypto, but you know, it's I think it's a testament to this community for us to, you know, speak about some of these things that are a little deeper than crypto itself, because there's people behind all this, and you should get to know them instead of just memeing them, blowing them off, or calling them scammers, or, you know, trying to poke them in the eye for trying to do something. You know, I've said that to the community for a long time. Again, Hex is the GOAT. I think that if anybody's ever asking for advice from me on, you know, what crypto to get into, blah, 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 99% of the shit that's out there is bullshit. It's garbage. But Hex, I don't think is. Even though it's down 99%, I still don't think it's garbage. I think it is the best crypto that's ever been introduced. I think that PulseChain makes it better, and PulseChain has been proving itself so far. And you know, anything else is suspect. And anything else, just you know, let those people do what they're doing. Let them go and build new stuff and stuff.
I think, Captain, it's fair to say that Hex is the premier high interest certificate of deposit on the blockchain. Premier meaning first. So I think there's a lot of gravitas there. And I think that's actually a fantastic line to use when we start seeing the green candles again. So I'm going to have to shoot off because I'm going to turn into a pumpkin, I'm afraid. Oh, Captain, let me ask you, did you go to Vancouver? Did that happen?
Yes, we did go to Vancouver.
Did you have fun?
Wait. No,
Canada, the west side of Canada.
We didn't go to Vancouver. Where did we go, SJ? Yes, we did go to Vancouver. I'm sorry. Yeah, we went to Vancouver.
Right?
Yeah.
Because Toronto is the other side. So
I'll reach out to you and see if we can get some Canadians together.
Yeah, get some Canadians together. I'll
start this little piece. And if anyone would love to join me midday on Sunday, like I say, we're going to start talking some crypto and financial principles. Well, mostly financial at the moment, but the crypto principles are already out there.
Yeah, we'll get your links on there so that people can go check it out.
Oh, that's fantastic. Thank you. And I just need to shape it up. So if what I'm doing is a little boring, because I don't want to be too, you know, they're quite short, snappy stories. But if it's a bit too much for people, they can throw other stuff out. Yeah, any ideas? Really, really grateful. Anyway, everyone, thanks very much. Thanks for having me, Captain. And take care. Loads of love to everyone.
We'll see you, bud. Take care.
I would like to intro our next guest.
Yeah, go ahead.
Excellent. So this here gentleman has done so much for our community. I recently, not that recently, but like I think before I left for this trip, I put out a tweet about some of the people that I think are the most underrated Hexicans in our community. And this guy is way up there on top of this list because I have seen him just do so many things, and he's been streaming forever, and his channel does not get as much play or views as it absolutely should. And I think that he magically appeared because I happened to mention Hex postcards. And if you haven't seen or don't know about Hex postcards, please click on that link. It is one of the #1 things, and I know RG doesn't agree completely, but it's from what I know and have heard from Richard Hart, it's the #1 thing that we can do is outbound messaging via direct mailing.
When do I not agree with that?
You have said, I've heard you say that you did not agree that it's one of the #1, that's like the #1 thing that we can do.
I have not said that. I have not said that. You are absolutely incorrect and inaccurate with your statement. I have thought that his postcard program has been one of the best things that we've ever. In fact, we've got some of our best streamers because of it, and Richard has endorsed it. So of course I've been behind it.
Well, no, I'm saying that what I heard you say was that you didn't agree with Richard that outbound messaging via direct mail was like the #1 way to onboard people. Not that you didn't. Anyways, all that aside,
pull that recording up.
Ladies and gentlemen, from the great state of Tejas, Eco Builder. Hello.
What's up, bud?
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much. It's interesting, you know, whenever somebody's talking about you before you come on stream. Hey, I wanted to give an update on where everything is with the postcard effort.
Let's hear it.
So month after month, we've had Patreons with their memberships donating into a pool. We recently grabbed $300 out of that pool and used it towards sending 10,000 cards over to Vancouver. So the total price of the cards to Vancouver of 10,000 cards was $3,000. So thank you so much to everybody in the Patreon group. You paid for 10% of that, and we really do appreciate you. We would love more people to sign up over there at Patreon. The idea is that it's an ongoing automated funding for Hex postcards outreach, and anybody who has any design talent out there in the crypto sphere is welcome to come into our group. It's not necessarily everything Hex. We're interested in PulseChain, you know, showing everybody PulseChain stuff. So come over there and especially if you've got some sort of experience in direct mail, you know, outreach. We've got a few experts out there. They've done stuff where it's like inserts in magazines. We've got all sorts of experts over there. So thank you so much, Patreon folks. Whatever email it is that you gave the patreon.com, you should have gotten an update on whenever those postcards went out.
Cool.
And every little bit helps. Because you can have it's any level of support, right? You can do like 50 cents a month, or I mean, I think $1 is probably the minimum. Come on, but you know, if 100 people did $1 a month, like how much would that help? You know, just little by little, getting the word out there. And you never know who's like, that's the coolest thing, is you really never know who lives in these neighborhoods that are targeted, or you know, who's gonna end up with one of these postcards and post it on X, like, the heck is this thing, like, oh, what is Hex? You know, like, it can really make a lot of ripples out there. So huge fan of that effort.
If we're successful enough to have somebody post it on X, it reaches, you know, 300 people per post at least, maybe thousands. And what else was I going to say? Oh, you know, if we had it to where it was actually automated, to where like if 100 people gave $5 a month, the price of a coffee, then we could send out a round of postcards, maybe like 3,000 cards per month, just based on that amount of money. I believe that the majority of the last postcards that were sent out were paid for by previous donations, because every once in a while we have a very generous person in the community giving us, you know, $2,000, $3,000, something like that. And I think it's like every tax season we definitely get a little bit trickling in. But you can go to hexpostcards.com is our official website, and the donation addresses for PulseChain and Ethereum are on there. We take all types of crypto. And then there's the Patreon. So patreon.com/hexpostcards. It's pretty easy to remember. Hex Postcards was created whenever Richard did a stream and asked us specifically to create outbound messaging. So I'm not the creator of the group. I'm friends with him. He's over here in Texas, and he took the words literally, and he turned it into a project, and boom. So we're a team of people who all trust each other. We are transparent. We will give you answers to any of your questions. So thanks again.
Somebody said they can't request postcards. The site goes to a missing page. I don't know if that's proper or not, but
so maybe it's my my address here, mailhex.xyz. That'll take you to my Eco Builder Twitter address, which you can request straight from me. I'll figure out a way of sending you something for free. We have the design files at the hexpostcards.com website. I think the tab is the top left. You can grab those design files. All of them, I believe, are available there or on the contest tab. And you can download from there and then take it to your local printer and have them printed off as well. It should be like 6 cents per print off. And the design files are set to about 6.5 inches by 9 inches. And then what I offer, this is totally separate. What I'm offering here with business cards. So I've created quite a few business cards, ran them off thousands of prints, and have them over here next to me in boxes. And anytime anybody has a request, I'll send them out for free, no problem. And I'll send them in envelopes, and I'll keep your address and your name private. I won't release that stuff. And now it's been 230 or so Hexicans who have trusted me with that sort of thing. Does anybody have any questions about, follow-up questions on what I'm doing? Otherwise, I'd like to ask RG3 a question that changes the subject.
I just had a quick comment on Hex. I think Will, I know who, I think SJ know who he is, the Hex Meetup Telegram group. I think they're doing a meetup if anybody's in Missouri. They're doing like a meetup tomorrow. It's just random Hexicans, but basically just meet up at random places, random times. Basically, it's all they just basically set up the meeting themselves and people go. So I think Will's in Missouri tomorrow. So I think he's going to have a little meetup with anybody that's in the area. I'm not exactly sure what the link is to the Telegram group.
I'm going to post it right now.
And if anybody doesn't know who Will is, he's been the guy who's been hosting this stream whenever RG's been out lately.
Yeah. They are. Yeah. Will's a gem.
G-Gen Roundtable.
Yeah, those guys are.
They're gems.
Grade A.
Hey RG, I wanted to ask you. I heard the intro earlier where you were talking about government, conspiracy theories, and just the pace of life. I wonder what you think about the movement of Texas exiting the union.
So there's been, decades and decades and decades of states talking about doing this, and again, it's just not something that I see happening. I know that there's a lot of energy behind it, but I think it's short-lived. I don't think that any state's ever going to exit the union. It's just not beneficial to them, and most of these states that even talk about it are states that require a lot of assistance from the federal government. Money comes into those states from the Fed, and I just don't think those states will give that up. I don't think that they can actually function and survive without the help of the federal funds that come into those states, unless they completely change things that would probably set them into a tailspin. I just don't think it's possible. I've heard it a lot. Even California's talked about, splitting California in two, and it never comes to fruition. I don't put a whole lot of thought into those things. I know that, there's a lot of energy behind it, but I don't think it's enough.
Yeah, I have seen some Twitter posts lately where there's a graphic and it shows the map of the United States, and it says that California is one of the leading states in their separation movements. And I really haven't heard much about it, but I would kind of expect that if they've been a republic of their own prior to joining the union. which is the case, right?
The California movement hasn't been an exit from the Fed. It's been, or an exit from the United States. It's been a split movement of actually dividing the state into two separate parts. Still being a member of the United States, but splitting it where Northern California and Southern California are two different states.
Yeah. I think I've seen like two different proposals on the California. One's been the northern, one's been the northern and southern, and then there's another one where some people that are inland want to split from the coast because those are a lot of the left-leaning cities. So a lot of the rural places in California are very deep red parts of the country, but most people don't see that. Like, especially most people aren't aware of that. Like, you got to understand how many people voted for Trump in the state of California. It was an amazing number. It's just that more people vote blue here, and based on the population, that those parts of the state that are red, they feel underrepresented because everything the state does, they don't do it for the rural communities. Everything is done to serve the big populated areas, like the LA Metro and the San Francisco Metro areas.
Yeah. Yeah. And whenever I see a movement that's politically motivated, I see failure because it usually doesn't hold any real, like you said, you're talking about people who feel underrepresented. If you're underrepresented, you're not going to be able to represent yourself away from the other big representation who is not going to let you secede or move or change, so it's kind of a moot point because it usually is the minority group that is trying to get things to change, and the minority group isn't who has the say so. It's just reality.
Yeah, like in California, there's no way the politicians here would want to lose that population because then they would lose votes in the House of Representatives. They would lose funding based. So there's no way.
California doesn't count. California doesn't even count in the election process.
Yeah, because it goes straight to blue.
They know exactly where it's going to go. So it means nothing. Like all the money that is being gathered by both candidates is going to be spent in Pennsylvania, Wisconsin. Those people are going to get bombarded with ads and door knocks. And I forget how many touches. Like here in California, we won't hear shit. We won't get nothing.
There will be a lot of fundraising here that happens on both sides.
Well, the fundraising happens here. But, we won't see that.
Commercial,
they won't be trying to come at us. They don't come at us.
because they understand, both sides understand it's going to go blue just based on how many people vote blue. But like you said, there will be a lot of fundraising.
We'll see the stuff for the propositions, like whatever. That's what we get bombarded by.
The proposition or the local people that want to get. Yeah, the local elections, and they'll be like, oh, this guy supports Trump. He's evil. Vote for me. That's usually what we get, but it's never really the politicians as far as for presidential candidates that actually run commercials here. Like you see them every now and then, but they're far in between. They're like they understand what it is.
Yeah, they're like general.
In the battle state grounds, I think a lot of the money that gets collected, and especially in California, it's going to go to fund a lot of advertising in other states, battleground states.
Yep, Arizona, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, all those.
I have a quick, unrelated question for Eco Builder before I go because my light died. So
we can still see you. You look fine.
Oh shucks. Okay. Well, hey Eco.
Hey, that's a nice sticker or magnet. Which one?
Magnet. Has anybody solved the puzzle? Is the puzzle still puzzling? Are people still puzzled about the puzzle?
People are still puzzled. I think it was Claus who just recently asked me any more new clues, and I told her it would be really exciting if we waited until 1 million hex was up over $50,000, so like 5 cents, I believe. So I've written down like maybe 8 possible clues that I could release later on. We're talking about the DeFi puzzle.xyz. Is that the webpage, right?
DeFipuzzle.xyz. Yes.
Yeah, it's been a while since I've talked about it. So this is a a wallet on PulseChain that holds 1 million hex, and I have released an image that represents all 12 seed words. And so that's the official website, defipuzzle.xyz, that represents the game. And I haven't given many clues out. The only clues that I've given out are in short YouTube videos. And so like YouTube shorts, you know, the ones that are portrait style and below 1 minute. This was my idea to help with people gamifying, understanding how crypto works, and, you know, like introduce people to 12 seed phrase wallets, and introduce them to the idea that they could be winning a prize. There was a lot of hype back when it was first created, and every once in a while, a few people inquire about it. But you can see the wallet at the website. There's the wallet address, and you can see the activity on the wallet, which is nothing. And then I also equipped it with 5,555 PulseChain in order for you to move out of that wallet if it is that you have access to the wallet. So good luck, everybody. I don't recommend you spend time on it. Instead, I recommend you entice others with it. And that's one of many offerings that I've made to this community. 1 million hex is just chilling over there. So what is that worth right now? $6,300. If
you had a guess, when do you think somebody will solve it?
Well, I've done a lot of analyzing on this, and I just thought that if it was broke within 6 months, then it wouldn't be a success. So I think that it's a success now. You know, some people tried to break it real fast, and there were all sorts of people tweeting like, "Oh, it's going to be broke tomorrow, and if nobody gets it by tomorrow, I'm gonna go do it myself." And then other people were like, "It's never going to be done." So that's why I say here, whenever it raises a very enticing number, and we can use it as a, hey, look at PulseChain onboarding and look at Hex onboarding tool throughout our community, then I could give some clues. And that Twitter account, the DeFi _puzzle Twitter account, has maybe like 200 people following it. And the highest views in YouTube shorts that I've gotten on a video of that I've released with this information has probably been like 1,200 views. So not very many.
Yeah, I think this is a really great marketing tool. I like the way that you have it saying play puzzle for 1 million. Because if someone on the street just sees that, you know, 1 million what? At the very least, they're going to like maybe go to the website and check it out and see what's being talked about. In that same vein, I know Hexy Bastard is doing a similar hunt with the lowest of stakes. You can also try to find, you know, there's a seed phrase within the film that you can try to find. And I bring this up because we were just in, I think it was we were in Munich, hanging out with the Crypto Sparbook dudes, and there was a sweet sticker guy. I love that dude. He was talking to RG about coming up with an idea for a pirate scavenger hunt along the same lines, right? Where it's like there's a seed phrase involved, and you know, maybe there's like some kind of like augmented reality aspect of it. So I think that those are other ideas, you know, that we can really start to, you know, like you're saying, Ego, like as the price goes up, right, people are going to get more interested. And if we have all these little games and puzzles and, you know, hints and clues and things, people are interested in that kind of thing, right? It's very intriguing. And I think that that can bring a lot more eyes and a lot more attention to the ecosystem. So good on you and all those out there, you know, coming up with all these different ways for us to spread the word and do more for the community instead of sitting there complaining about nothing. Do something.
So one of my things behind this was I'm not creating a new coin, I'm creating an activity.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And so that people can have yet another tool to introduce how crypto works to other folks. And so at this website, you can be forwarded over to my Eco Builder Twitter accounts and request business cards that I've created for that game. And also, like, there's different ways of appealing to folks. You know, you might be surprised the type of folks that want to get out and I don't know, be athletic versus the type of folks that want to stay in and play whatever of Catan. You know, like that. There's different types. You don't know exactly what's going to appeal to folks. So get out there and have it to where everything's wrapped up, like making an honest system. You know, people will ask me in private, hey, any clues for that? Or they'll get me on the phone and they'll ask me like, hey, is this one of the words? So I can't talk to you about that stuff. I got to keep everything even across the playing board by acting like I didn't even create it. You know, that's just the only person that's going to communicate is the Twitter account. A few people, thank you so much for asking me that question and bringing that as a topic.
Yeah, I hadn't heard about it in a minute, and I was just curious.
That's the first time I heard about it. I've heard about your other stuff, but that's actually sounds like an interesting game, you know, and like you said, especially when the price goes up, like you're gonna entice more people to say, well, I know about it, but I really wasn't interested. But now that the price has reached a certain threshold, it's like you're gonna get people that want to see, oh, it's actually worth my time.
So I thought about the idea and I asked some people that were inside of Twitter space, hey, have y'all heard of anything like that? And one of the guys spoke up and he said, yeah, he had been around in Bitcoin for a while. He said, yeah, there was a Bitcoiner back in the day that painted a picture that had 12 seed words in it. And it was cracked once the Bitcoin price went up to 20K or so. Wow. So they got 5 Bitcoin out of it. And I think by that time it had dipped to where they got like $80,000 out of it.
Very nice. Well, $1 million hex is worth about that much at one time.
$1 million hex was worth $500,000 at one time.
Woo! Let's go. Bull market incoming. All right, and I am outgoing. I'm sleepy. I'm tired. I'm still adjusting to the United States time versus Europe time. So
yeah, I think I'm gonna call it a night as well. I've been up since 4 a.m.
Woo! Yep. Thanks everybody for coming. Eco for doing all your work. We'll see you all in the next one.